see you here. I have got some tremendous news for you. You, how many of you are you? You are in the right place at the right time. Because I'm telling you, this moment has been designed to get you exactly what you want and where you want to be. It is for you. It'll be just right. I can hardly wait to get in and hardly wait to do it. It is very fun. And I will tell you this, in case any of you, this is your first time here? Okay, we do have some here. Let me just tell you this. You're around the greatest people in the whole wide world right here. These are tremendous people. You're going to be, and that's always nice, man. Don't you hate to be around cruddy people? And a lot of times, and particularly spend the whole day. It's nice to be around good people, don't you think? We're going to have tons of fun. And here's what I want to do. Even though we're going to have tons of fun and it's going to be very good, the truth of the matter is it's also going to be very challenging, because here's what we're going to do. I want you to allow yourself to dream what would be your immeasurably more than you ask or imagine. If we take your practice, what would you like, if you were to define immeasurably more than all you ask or imagine, what would it be for your practice? Not just that, though, for your life. What about the immeasurably more than all you could ask or imagine life? What does it look like, taste like, smell like? What would you need to experience? Now, let me just say this. That may sound kind of simple, but very few people not only do it, very few people want to do it. And here's the reason why. Because it's kind of scary, is what it is. It's scary to do it because you almost don't want to allow yourself to think like that. Because what if it doesn't happen? I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to get my hopes up. How many of you said don't get your hopes up? Here's the deal. We don't do it because it's kind of scary, because what if I dream it? What if I write it down? What if I define it? What if I tell you what it is? And then it doesn't happen. That's the scary part of the deal. And that's the reason why it doesn't happen very often. So what I want to do is, I want us to do that, and then I also want to encourage you, because the truth is, you are just one step away from making that happen. You're one step away from a whole new world. Because if you hit immeasurably more than all you've asked or imagined before, immeasurably more, that'd be a whole new world, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a whole new world? Everybody say, a whole new world. It's a point of view or something like that. Yeah. Well, that's where we're going, in a much better way than that song, or the way we sang it. And here's the deal. It is one of those things that is reachable. And you can take the step that we're going to talk about today. You can take it, and you can start it actually today. So, I know that when I say that, I know that sounds rather simplistic to you. And it kind of is. But here's the reason why, even though it is simplistic. It's been said, that the line which separates winning from losing is as fine as a razor's edge. One of the things that we get to thinking is that when it comes to immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, or just which this is the way we like to just end up taking whatever comes our way and accepting that. And whatever will be, is on. And that's what you don't have to do, and that's what you shouldn't do. But you think that there's this huge chasm between what just happens and immeasurably more, whatever happens, and a whole new world. And the truth is, it's not near as wide as what you would think. That's why it's a little bit more simplistic. If you do this, and let me define it for you so you can see what that would be like, why it is that way. One person just about starts a project. The other person starts it. One person just about starts a new procedure. The other person did start it. One person decides they can do this, but the other person just decides they just about did. Well, I considered it. I thought, how many of you have ever done the just about before? Now, here's where the big difference is between those who just about do it and the ones who do it. So you're going to be making a decision whether you are a just about person or just the person who is going to do it. Now, this edge that I want to talk about here, I'm going to let my grandson define it for us. He did a pretty good job. This is Nolan that you're about to see on the big screen. He was 3 years old in this, and what we're doing is we're out at our pool at our house, and we've got him all dressed up. He's all in his swimming stuff, and he's got his swimmies on, or I think that's what we call them, the floaties. He's got his floaties on in the whole bit, and he's got his whole support crowd with him. He's got his parents and his grandparents, and we're there to root him on. And he is about to get on the diving board and look into the deep blue sea, which is the deep part of the pool, and we're going to encourage him to dive in. Are you ready? Let's take a look at it. Ryan, I'll try to do this right here. There he is. Okay, he's on the board and he's dressed and ready. Oh, there he goes.
Making us all nervous.
His feet are on, his
toes
toes
are
are
on
over.
the edge.
No.
You gonna do it, buddy?
No. Okay,
Down
just
and up
about,
and
just
down
about.
and up.
No, okay, okay. Okay, there he is. And look at all the encouragement. He's getting all the encouragement. Come on. Dad's right there.
Jump.
Right there to catch him. Dad's right there.
You can do it.
No.
No.
Oh. Now come. Here's the only thing that Nolan doesn't know. That's going to be every day of his life. That isn't something that just happens. My fault. That isn't something that just happens to dive in a pool. It's everybody's decision. We'll do that today. You'll get on the board, you'll look over it, you'll look in the deep. Do I really want to dive in? And let me just tell you something, it's just something to watch, but here's the deal. He had everything that he needed to do it. He had the equipment, he had the floaties, he had the board, he had the people there to support him and help him. It wasn't that he didn't have the ability. It wasn't that he didn't have the talent. It wasn't that he didn't have the brains. But he still has to take that one step past the toes on the end of the board. He has to take that one step that says, I'm gonna dive in. And until he makes the decision to dive in, it doesn't matter how prepared he is. It doesn't matter how good the floaties are. It doesn't matter how good the people are in the pool waiting for him. None of it matters. He has to make the decision to what? To dive in. We can do better. He has to make the decision to do what? And the pool's going to change, and the board's going to change, but that one step isn't going to change. That's going to be a step that he's going to have to learn and make the decision all the time. And today, we will do that same thing. We will make that decision. I call it the just about, that's what I was giving you, just about difference. How many of y'all watched the Olympics last month? I'll tell you some really exciting things in there. This was one of the most exciting races right here. One of the most exciting races you will ever see. Now look at that. This was a track and field event. Talk about a photo finish, you guys. Talk about a photo. Can you believe this? Now you're seeing the very first and the very last, all in this same picture. You take a look at this. These are all, and look at the difference. The one orange shoe, the one white shoe, the one kind of sort of both shoe, and then this one chin sticking out just a little bit more than the other. Now, last place is right behind them. Now, here's the funny thing. There's about 0.0001 second difference between last place and first place. Now, here's the weird thing about that. The one who is going to, and by the way, you had to really look at this because the truth is, just watching it, you didn't know who came in first. It was that close. But one person, being that just that little bit difference, stood on the top podium and got a gold medal. The 1.0001% behind him didn't get anything. Got nothing. Now, do you realize how easy it is to feel like, what a loser? I went there. Why did I even do this? I've dedicated my whole life to this one moment, and I didn't get anything. I don't think that they feel only 0.0001% behind the other one. I think they feel like a total loss. What do you all think? So what we have to do, you guys, is take a cough drop. What we have to do is we have to realize that it's the result that is huge, not the, both of these. Can you say that one person was really faster than the other one here? Oh, yeah, I'm way faster. Oh, yeah, way. We had to get a camera to find out who it is. It's the just about difference. Now, let me just tell you all something, because I do have a point. Can you believe that? My point is this. The people who have immeasurably more than all they ever asked or imagined were not worlds different than the one who didn't get anything. It was actually a photo finish. So you know what I want to encourage you to do today? Decide that you are going to make the just about difference. Don't miss it by a literal foot. Don't miss it by a, well, I just about. You know, the deal is you must choose to dive in, to stick your neck out, to stick your chin out, to stick your foot out. Go for, it's that little bit, just that little bit effort difference that everybody else doesn't make. So what about you? How important does that make today anyway? How will you respond to this one thought? Are you ready? You are only one step away from a whole new world. Oh, it's all right. You are only one step away from a whole new world. So is this true? Does your mindset matter to winning a whole new world? I'm asking the question. Yes. Does your mindset matter? How many of you think your mindset matters? How many of you think that your mind can really mess you up? Boy, yeah. What you think will determine what you do will be pretty much your mind. So will you take the one step difference? Will you jump in? You're Nolan right now. You're on the board, and you walk up to it, and you have to admit it looks kind of cute seeing him walk up there. But it's even cuter seeing him turn back. No, I'll just turn around, walk back, get off the board. Nope, I don't think. How many of you can relate to that, walking right back and saying, no. So, here's the next thought I want to give you. You're closer than you think. When I say this whole new world, you might feel like in your practice, in your work, in your life, in your home, you may feel like it is miles apart You may feel like you got a long ways to go. As a matter of fact, you may feel like it's so far to go that you don't know that you can go that far. I'm giving you a different thought, and the thought is this. You're closer than you think. Now, I want you to do this. Tell the people next to you, turn to each person next to you and say, you are closer than you think. Right, very good. That's a good thing to do. Because the person you just told next to you probably feels like they're farther away than that. They probably do. And they need to have somebody tell them, you're closer than you think. You know why? Because they don't feel close. They feel like it's a pretty good ways from here. We feel like that a whole new world only happens to Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. I happen to know who those folks are. I grew up in the Houston area, and we had neighbors, where I went to school with the astronauts' kids, a lot of them, and all that type of thing. So, Buzz Aldrin played football with his sons, and something like that. Well, with that experience, the whole moon thing seems pretty easy to picture. It was a big part of everybody's life around there. But, you may feel like it's just a whole different world. It's way out there. So I can only tell you this. You do not have to give up your family or your life or your fun in order to have immeasurably more than all you ask or imagine. Everybody just understand that? You do not have to give it up. The world you want is actually right in front of you. And you can get there from here. You can get there from this hotel. It doesn't take more than you can do. You've already got the floaties that you need. You've already got the swimsuit on. You've already got the support. You've already got the instruction. It's there. You have the talent. You have the ability. Here's the thing, you guys. Doctors, I'll start with you on this, but it applies to everybody. The truth is, you can have the doctor's degree and you can have the license to practice. You can have the ability to give a great adjustment and still not hit that because you still have to dive in. Do you know how many people that there are that have those qualifications that never dive in for an immeasurably more practice? They got out on the board. They just turned around and went back. Some don't even get on the board. They didn't pass their boards. No, don't that without playing with words. Don't. Here's the deal. Another thing I want you to remember. One change can make a big difference. You don't have to change your whole practice. You don't have to change your whole purpose. You don't have to change your whole direction. One change can make a big difference. You don't need a whole new life or a whole new look or a whole new direction. So that lends us to the real question. So what should you do? What is it? Here it is. You ready for it? What you see is what you get. Everybody say that. That was very unconvincing. Let's try to say, what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. Do you believe it? Is it just a statement, or is that what you believe? So if you believe that statement, here is the one simple step that can change everything. If you change what you see, you will change what you get. Sounds pretty simple, but it's pretty profound. And when I say simple, It sounds like it's easy to change what you see. It isn't easy at all. Because we've been seeing the same things for many times our whole life. So, let's take something in your practice that you see is not working. First of all, I say, do any of you have anything in your practice that you see is not working? Try this. What would happen if you would change what you see? What if you saw it as working? What if you saw it as awesome? What if you saw it as golden? What if you saw it as the thing that'll take you where you want to go? What if you changed the way you see it? Now it's getting harder, isn't it? Because you're so sure you're right. What if you were absolutely sure that it does work? What if you were certain, even if others cannot see it? Because one of the reasons why you see it that way is because other people told you to see it that way. Oh, no, this isn't any good. Oh, no, this won't work. Oh, no, you don't need it. Oh. What if you were certain, even if others cannot see it? Even if others tell you it doesn't work? And they testify how it hasn't worked for them. Anybody ever heard that? What if you could see it when nobody else can? Here's about to be a really great statement. Now, what if you could see it when nobody else can? The question for you would be, would it change your results? And here's the statement I want you to get. You ready to get it? When you see what others cannot see, you will have what others cannot have. Maybe it'd be worth it to change the way you see it. Have any of you ever been surprised at somebody? And by the way, don't point. Just so you. Have you ever seen somebody that you thought, after meeting them and stuff, you thought they weren't any good? There's not a good person. And after time, and you got to know them, you learned after a year or whatever the time, you learned that they were actually very good. How many of you have ever been surprised that you thought they were a good person? You thought they were a bad person, they were good? Maybe I could find a simpler one. How many of you have ever thought there was a good person, they turned out to be very bad? Boy, that was easier, wasn't it? So look, when you see what others cannot see, you will have what others cannot have. And most people really end up being the way you see them. The truth is, they never changed. What changed is the way you see them. They're the same person they were. But you see differently. So let's apply it to your practice. We kind of talked about this morning just a little bit, you guys. If you see a shortage of doctors in our Elite Wake-Up meeting, if you see a shortage of doctors, or that doctors won't come to your town, well, nobody will come out here to where we are. We're in this small town. Nobody. If you see a shortage of doctors, or that doctors won't come to your town, what do you think you're going to get? I'm asking. Shortage of doctors. Unless, and here's the part where I really test your faith, unless you change the way you see it. What if you could see, so that you're certain, what if you could see it as, there isn't any doctor who wouldn't like to be here. There isn't any doctor who wouldn't want to be here. This is the place to be. As a matter of fact, this is the opportunity that they've been looking for and waiting for. And I'm going to give them an opportunity to get it. What if you could see, my problem is, I'm going to have to make a decision and turn some people down. What if you could see it that way? If you could change what you see, you would get doctors. You say, Keith, is this just one of those positive thinking things, and then you're giving this, I'm just going to dream it? No, it's not. But I'm going to explain to you and show you why it works. It works because when you don't believe anybody will come to your town, you won't make the effort to get anybody to come to your town. When you don't believe anybody will do it, why would you be going for something that can't happen? You're certain that it can't happen. So you know what? You make no efforts to get anybody there because you've already decided. You've already decided by the way you see it. Well, let's do it like this. If you see your patients as not following through, they're going to drop. Well, no, in our area, they're just not going to come. No, they're not going to come. They'll get out of pain, but after they get out of pain, they're not going to come back. They're not going to come back because they just come back. All they wanted was to get out of pain. That's the way you what? Am I the only one in the room? That's the way you what? That's the way you see it. Thank you very much. You will participate, or you won't be allowed to go to lunch. If you see your patients as not following through, or you see them as dropping out, that is what you will get. Because you believe the same. You said it from the beginning. What you see is what you get. So here's the funny thing, is that when you see the patients that they will follow through, and that's the way you see it, you think they'd be a nut if they didn't. There's no way they're not going to. And if somebody didn't, it would totally shock you. What? You got to be kidding me. Get them on the phone. I can't imagine them dropping out here. They need this. They love it. Get them on the phone. Let's call them. That person sees it different. Now, you know why they want to do a call that the other ones don't make, even though it's part of the procedure? Is because the way they see it is they want to be there. And there's a problem. What is it? Why would they not follow through? Because you could see them. You were certain they would. But if you already thought that they wouldn't, and then they drop, you say, oh, that's what I figured. That's what I thought. I knew they wouldn't. Well, I'll just tell you right now, they were already blah, 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 blah. How many of you know what I'm talking about at least? You've never done it yourself, but you know what I'm talking about. So it is the way you see it. When you see the patients as following through, the reason it isn't a positive thinking thing, but it's the way it works, is because it affects the way of what you do. You do things differently when you see it one way than you do when you see it another. How many of you have ever been mad at somebody and you found out that they were a creep? And then you see them. Does it affect the way you treat them? No doubt. And the rest of you are liars. Because what you see is what you get. It impacts the way you act, and that's the way what you get is a true statement. Is because it's really a self-fulfilling prophecy as such. So, when you see new patients is coming, what's the first thing you really need to do if you want to really increase your new patients? You got to see the new patients as coming. I'll explain to you, don't worry. Here's how it works. If you build the image of something new in your mind, and let's say you were to take one of these things and you were just totally change the way you see it, and you can see it clearly. Hey, let me ask you all this question, you guys, because I know what my wife's answer and my answer are two different things here. And so I know the way it works for my wife. She can dream and wake up from a dream or a nightmare, just depending on what it was. And I mean, in her mind, it happened. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I mean, she will just wake up, oh, no. And I mean, she will just wake up it's going to take a while for her to get over it. Because she just said, well, I just can't. And of course, she says, I just can't believe you did that. And I said, well, what did I do? Well, you blah, blah, blah. I've just never seen you do that before. Well, honey, it was a dream. It didn't happen. I was right here. But here's the deal. If you see it, it's real. Am I right? How many of you dream the way my wife dreams? How many of you understand that? You woke up, oh, yeah. Okay, now, you already know that this is true. So when you see something as working, you give yourself the opportunity to get it. Because when you see it that clearly, and you are sure of it, you will go for it. So what you see is what you get. But here's the opposite is true. If you can't see it, you won't go for it. If you just say, no, Keith, in our area, we can't get doctors. If you say, no, Keith, in our area, we can't get new patients. You'll be right. You'll say, well, give me something to do. Change the way you see it. Because until you see it differently, no matter how many people are in the pool saying, no, dive in, dive in, dive in, you won't dive in because all you can see is the deep blue water. And you turn around and you go back. Every time. Is it making sense, everybody? This is why you have to do it. So, if you can't see it, you won't go for it. If you don't go for it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, of course, you're not getting new patients. You're not doing anything to get new patients. And the reason you're not doing anything to get new patients is because you don't think there's anything you can do. You think it ain't going to work. That's the way you what? That's the way you see it. So, the only way to change what you are getting is to change what you see first. Now, let me tell you the way we naturally operate. Everybody's looking at me with such a halo, so I'm hoping you remove your halo. And let me tell you this. We like to see it first, and then we believe it. So when we see that this thing works, when we see that this is good, when we see that the new patients are coming, when we see that we had this many, then I'll believe that we can. Jesus said it this way. He says, oh, sure, you believe because you've seen. This is after the disciples saw him and he was resurrected, he was alive. Oh, sure, you believe that I am. Blessed are those who believe it and haven't seen it. Does everybody kind of remember that? They're the ones who are blessed. How many of you want to be blessed? Then you got to believe even when you change the way you see it. You won't go for new patients if you don't believe that they are there. Because if you really believed that screener would work, you'd have one. You just have to change the way you see it. If you really believe by doing that activity, it'd get new patients, you'd do the activity. You'd be as excited as all get out. It just depends on whether you can see it or not. So let me give you a little test. Everybody ready for it? What is your new patient vision? Can you see hundreds of new patients scheduled to come in every month? Can you see it? For instance, I'll give you one. Buses. Everybody say buses. Buses of seniors. Buses of senior adults that are driving up to your clinic, and they're all getting off to come into your clinic and we get adjusted. Buses. Now you see, I don't have any trouble picturing this. Matter of fact, okay, as an example, we're season ticket holders to the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, so we go to those games, and sometimes at those games, there'll be a deal that they made with, senior adult living things, the senior adult living homes and places like that, and they have whole buses. And you know what they do? They drive these big buses from that senior home to that ball game, and here they come. And I would say, oh no, Rhonda, they're letting everybody out of that bus. There's nothing you hate more than getting there right after the bus gets there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here we are. So the deal is, what I like to picture is buses like that from those same homes that exist in your area, pulling up to your clinic and everybody getting out and coming in to see you guys. Is that awesome, everybody, or what? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be great? Thank you. I got one. That would be great. Can you see it? Because if you can see it, you'll go for it and try to get it. If you don't think they'd do it, you won't go for it. You won't dive in. You'll stick your toes out there maybe. You'll make kind of a little bitty phone call, kind of sort of maybe. You wouldn't want to do this, would you? And then you'll turn around and walk back. No. Water's too deep. How about if it was the same with sports? How many of you like sports and athletes and stuff? Now, can you see all the teams of all the sports at all ages, from little league to college? How many of you can see them coming to your clinic to get adjusted? Now, let me tell you the difference. If you can see it happening, you'll go for it. If you're thinking, well, no, I don't know where they go, and they should go, but they don't, and so they won't. And they just said, I don't know why we're not accepted. I don't know why we don't get it. We ought to have it. I don't know what. Hey, it's because you don't go for it, bucko. You just get on the diving board and you turn around and come back. All in favor, say aye. But if you can see it, if you can see them coming, you'll go for it. And how awesome would that be? Because I can ask you other questions too. Why wouldn't they? What an opportunity when it does everything that you tell them every time they get adjusted. That will enhance their performance. They will perform better. It will help their mobility. It'll protect them. What if you gave them the very words that we say with every adjustment, right? And they found out that you mean this adjustment will do that? Let me tell you something that an athlete knows. An athlete knows what I told you at the beginning of this class. And that is there's this razor A's difference between first place and last place. And if they're given one edge, it could make the difference in a win or a loss. It could make the difference in them going further in their sport or ending right here. You keep their future in your hands, and this adjustment is what will make the difference. Can you see that? Do you see it that way? Do you see that adjustment as being what will actually make a difference in their performance, actually make a difference in their future, make a difference in what they continue to do? And you say, well, I don't know that it would make that much difference. How much difference does it take? Look at that race. How much difference does that adjustment have to make for them to win? I'm telling you, it's a small step. I'm telling you, it's a razor's edge. Do you see how important everything we just talked about prior to this really is? And how it can impact the way you see it? Just about. They just about won. They just about made the team. They just about got the scholarship. They just about got it. You were the just about, and you weren't there for them. We say, I would have been glad to adjust them. No, you didn't go get them. Hello? You willing to take responsibility and say it was your fault? You didn't dive in. Of course you didn't get to enjoy it. You had the floaties on. You just didn't go jump off the board. All in favor, say aye. So now I'm going to get really personal. Is everybody ready for this? How do you see screenings? You see the excitement in the room? How do you see screenings? Here's the thing that you'll find out. What is it that would kill a screening? A bad vision can kill any screening because what you see is what you get. Now, you guys, in my position, I've had, I don't know, some 36 years or more, I forget, 36 years. I get to hear all the stories. Screenings have been done all those 36 years. Heard lots of success stories for decades of screenings. By the way, when I say that, I've been listening to the stories longer than most of you in here have been alive. So I know about them pretty good. So here's the deal. I know they work because I've heard the stories from all over the country. I've heard the stories from every state. There isn't a state that you could bring up that I haven't heard the stories of screenings and how they work. They work everywhere. I've also listened for decades to the small group. They're small but loud. How many of you know what I'm talking about? They're small but loud. And they can always tell you why something doesn't work. Blah, blah, blah. They'll be the ones right out here in the hall will tell you why it doesn't work. Blah, blah, blah. Here they go. Small but loud group doctors with stories of how screenings don't work. And it's always from people who don't want to do them. And so here we go. I've seen the principle. I've seen this work over and over again. Why does it not work for them? Because what you see is what you get. Now, here's what I'm going to do this morning, just so that you know. What I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to pass along to you the lines from the stories that I've heard for decades. Not this month. Well, I'm not saying I won't hear it this month. I mean, I've heard them for years. So I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about years. Here's one of them. Oh, it's hard to get in. It's hard to get in anywhere to do screenings. People don't want them. You can't get in. You just try to get in. No, but you can't get in. You can't get anywhere. They won't let you in. You guys, I've heard people tell me on the same day, I've had some people tell me that you can't get into, I'll make it a store. You can't get into Walmart. No, you can't get, it's their policy. It's their nationwide policy. You can't get in. Same day I'll have somebody say, hey, we just got into Walmart. Really? Huh. What will this vision do to the results of screenings when you're convinced that it's hard to get in to do screenings? They won't let you in. You're convinced that's the way you see it. Well, let me tell you, everybody follow me because this is important. This is really important. You may think this is important. You think, well, that doesn't matter how I see it because if it worked, they would just let me in anyway. It doesn't matter how I see it. You're wrong. I'm going to show you how you're wrong. Here's how you're wrong. 3 things. When you see it that way, the first result will be you'll make a very low volume of calls trying to get in. You'll make very few calls because you don't believe they're going to let you in. That affects the volume of calls. No one will want to make calls when they know they're going to get rejected. Second reason, if they do make the calls because of the way they see it, they'll do a terrible job making the call. They don't, well, I know you probably have a policy against it, and I know that, you may have even got hurt by people doing this before. You probably don't want to, but I just thought I would call and see if maybe there'd be a chance if maybe we could come in, once. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? Well, that's the problem. It's the way you see it. So then the whole deal is, well, you begged them not to take you. Then you hugged up the phone and said, see? Keyword being see. See? I told you. You can't get in. They expect the rejections, and that's the way it goes. And there's a third one. The final result, those people will end up getting 1, maybe 2 events a month, 2 screenings a month. You know why? Because they made so very few calls. The calls they made, they did a poor job of it, and they ended up getting that one. All of it was dependent on one thing, the way they saw it. They already predetermined their results. And let me tell you what the end up result will be. They'll eventually just stop doing them. Because who wants to fail? So what does this office need to do, you guys? Hold on. Grit your teeth. You ready? What do they need to do? They need to change the way they see it. See, I would say Let me go ahead and give you an idea that I had because I had to get my car fixed. So I was having my car. Any of y'all ever taken your car to be serviced at the dealership, or whatever? And you take it in there. And so then they sit you with these other 12 people that are waiting for their car to be fixed too. How many of you ever done one of them? So there you are. You're sitting there and, oh, are we a bored-looking group or what? I mean, we just look like death warmed over there. I even have a picture of it. We're sitting there and you're leafing through stuff and how long is it going to be and there's nothing to do. And I'm wasting my whole life by being in this room. And so I took a picture of it and I showed it to a few people and I said, you know what? You need to do screenings right here. Be there. And then while people have nothing else to do anyway, hey, here's an opportunity. Have you been having any aches and pains? You have been having any trouble? Hey, well, while you're here, let's do this. Well, hey, it's better than that old magazine that you weren't interested in anyway. So then you get in there and you do it, and it turns out to be a great thing. You say, yeah, but why would the dealership want you to do it? Well, see, it's the way I see it. I'll tell you why they would want you to do it. Is because if there's one thing that makes the dealership bad, it's the longer they sit there with nothing to do, the angrier they get and the badder mood that they get in, and then they're hacked off at you by the time you finally provide them with the car. But if you gave them some neat things that really helped them out, that made the time count, you made yourself look better. Here you are providing this service for them, so to make sure that they make the time count while you're there if you want it. And it costs nothing to get it. It's just a privilege. It's just an opportunity. How many of you think I could get in it? You bet I could. But it's not because I'm so good. I'm wearing the same swimsuit and the same floaties that you do. It's just the difference is the way I see it. How many of you are following me here? So, what we need to do is change. So I sort of changed, screens. I thought it'd be a great idea. Tell you another idea I had on it. So, you know what I would do, by the way, I didn't complete my idea. I would contact places like those dealerships where they have people that, by the way, another one is when you get your tires changed. You ever had to have your tires changed? They're sitting in there and here you go. Wherever people are just sitting around. And by the way, you could be there for the day and you'd have a crowd of 12 people that are different every hour. You could do 12 screenings in one day. If you see it that way. How cool was that? And you could come back the next day and have a whole different crowd. You don't even have to change locations. What if you went there 4 days a week? And on the other ones, there's other places like, I'll tell you what I had a guy do. I thought this was a great idea, just sitting around talking. So I'm getting my car washed. Isn't that what I was doing? Yeah. And vacuuming out the car. And so there's this guy who walks over there, and he walks up to me, and he's got a tablet and all that kind of stuff. And he says, hey, I see you've got a chip on your windshield. I can take care of that for you. Matter of fact, it won't cost you a thing. We'll do that. I can set you up right here and do this. And he was just going from car to car to car. And you know what he was doing? He was doing screenings. It's amazing when you're looking for it and you want it. It's amazing what you can see. All in favor say aye. Just saying. So what happens on the 1 or 2 screenings that you did schedule? Let me go over those just to thoroughly cover it. On the few screenings of bad vision people, when they do it, they say, well, okay, we did get one scheduled. I guess we'll go, but it's hard to get anybody to stop and do a screening. I don't know if you've heard that plenty. I've heard people won't stop by. You just can't get them to stop by. You just sit there. You sit there with nothing to do. I sat there the whole day and I didn't have nothing to do. Nobody was stopping. Nobody would come see me and all that kind of thing. Oh, great. I know what kind of results they get when they're going to go because I already know how they see it. So, here's what happens. Here's the reason it really happens. It's amazing how we look too busy to interrupt. Come on, you guys, take your halo off. Here's what happens. Matter of fact, many of you have walked up to a front desk and had this happen, and it's the same thing. You ever walked up to a front desk, and even when you walk up there and you stand right in front of them, they don't even look up? They don't grunt at you. They don't wave. They just, boy, they have their head stuck in that computer or they're on that phone. And when they're on the phone, and they're just doing it. Oh, you know why? Because, oh, they're busy. Busy. And so you're walking up, and, it's like, you could at least acknowledge the fact that I walked up. But they don't want to get any eye contact whatsoever. I did do this once. I'll just tell you real quick. I did do this once. She did it, and I was just standing there, and she never did, and I've been there standing there a while. So I just took my cell phone out of my pocket, and I called the office. And it rang, and she said, family chiropractic, whatever. She said, this is janitor. I said, hi, my name's Keith, and I'm right in front of you, and I was wondering if I could get in. Probably shouldn't take a phone call. What do you think? But, here's the thing. If she's a screener, she's going to come back and say, nobody came. I sat there and nobody came in. Because it's pretty hard to interrupt you. You've got your head in the phone, you've got your head in paperwork and doing the stuff, and you don't even want to make eye contact. And you got to want to. So here's the deal. We really determine our success a lot of times because it's what we want. We look too busy to interrupt. If a person does want a screening, they're going to have to want it badly. Maybe even take the cell phone out of their pocket and call you. So what we have to do, and I do have to make sure you got to be seeing it differently. Here's another one. Occasionally somebody does decide to be bold enough to come over and get your attention. And then you know what happens? You still have another great obstacle. You get them over, they want a screening, they ask you for the screening, and you screen them. And then you give them the spiel of what they need to do, and they need to make this appointment. And now you hit the difficulty of, well, shoot, I don't know my schedule. Oh, well, you are busy, and so are we. We could probably, let's just put something down for a week from now. So then they schedule it for a week from now. Now, what do you think the chances are of them showing up a week from now? Slim and nil. You did it wrong. The truth of the matter is, they're not going to be there, and then you're going to blame the screening. It wasn't the screening's fault. It's the fact that you did it wrong. And there's still a third way you can keep them from coming in. If they even go to the trouble of trying to figure out a time they can come in and they make an appointment, and let's say they even make it that day or the next day like they're supposed to, then don't worry, I can still kill the screening. Then you say, well, what we're going to need is for you to hold the appointment, we need $20, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. You pay $20 and this is what you get, and you get first day services, and you tell them, you get all these things and that's it. You get all these things, you come in, you'll get this, and all you had to do was hold it and get it with this $20. That's all it'll be, and we're going to donate this $20 to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So that you know we're sincere here, our motive is sincere. We want to help you. We want to make a difference in your health. And so then, can I sell? Yes, I can do it because it's the way I see it. But if it's just, you give me $20, and then when it comes to taking the money, you're even scared to bring it up because you think that that's what's going to lose it. So there's so many opportunities you have to kill it, which is pretty neat. Then you can come back and say, well, now we did everything the way we were supposed to, and 90% of them were still no-shows. Boy, I get to hear that one a lot. Yeah, that's the reason I don't like screenings, because they don't show up. We get them, we get this number, but then they don't show up. Okay, so let me understand. And by the way, you guys, it's pretty hard to kid a kidder because I do, been to plenty of things. Let me just tell you something. If I walk up and ask for a screening, I want it. Because I'll tell you what I do. I try to get by the booth without anybody noticing I'm walking by. And I'm kind of, and get busy myself. And I'm telling you something, I don't just naturally go up and do a screening. I don't do screenings for fun. How about you guys? Come on, Halo heads. Do you do screenings for fun? I just think I'm going to do 5 screenings. Come on, Halo heads. You don't. You don't want to either. If if I go up there and I say, I want a screening, and I interrupt you from your phone to get you to look up, and then you do the screening, and I not only go to the trouble of having you do the screening, but I listen to your whole thing while I'm doing it, and then I say, okay, and then I go to the trouble of making an appointment. I'm making an appointment. And then I make an appointment, and you say, well, now though the big problem is I'm going to need $20 to hold this appointment, if you say it that way. If I make an appointment and I do the screening and I give you $20, I'm interested. Your story that you give when you go back to the office is full of bull. I'm interested. I would never do all that and not be interested. Now, and I do come in with some points on that. If you're right and I'm wrong, and everybody just wants to go by and just have a day of screenings and hand out $20 bills, if you're right and I'm wrong, then here's what I say. Hang the screening things, hang the fare, just go to a neighborhood and go door to door and ask for $20. Because you're saying we just hand it out. Or is that a bunch of baloney? Truth of the matter is, you guys, that when it's done right, no. And I say, well, did you call them? And they say, yep, they won't take our calls. Yeah, that sounds right. I did all that stuff with you. I just did it with you yesterday, and I won't take your call because I'm not a bit interested. I just wanted to come up and hand you $20 so that you could bug me calling. You guys, is there a problem with our story? All I can tell you is this. I don't know what you left out. I don't know what you did, but there's a piece missing to the puzzle because I would never do all that. Would you? I'm asking you. No. So, just in case, I'm giving you I'm giving you the minority bad stories. Now let me give you ready for a good story? I love this one. This one was this week. Gloria is the coach of this one. I got this one this week. Call in this week. Listen to this. This is what I call it an accidental vision. This is how screenings work when you see it that way. Dr. Dean hired a screener. Now, this is kind of a funny story. He hired a screener, and the funny part is, he thought that Gloria told him that the screener needs to get 40 new patients a week. So he hired her, and he said, now, you need to have 40 new patients a week. So, boy, she goes out there, and she busts it going for it. She's working for it. She worked that whole month, and rats, what a loser. She only got 30-some-odd new patients every week. So you know what he did? He called her in. He said, well, I'm really disappointed. You only got 30-some-odd, and the goal is 40. Okay, I'll go back. Because she only got 130 good new patients for the month. But he thought that's the goal that we set. Because, see, one of Dr. Dean's problems is he does it just the way we say do it. That's one of his problems. So I'll give you here. So anyway, when he reported his results, and Gloria's right over here, so she can affirm this, and I called it. When he reported his results to his integrity coach, she was ecstatic. She said, that's fantastic. She got that many new patients? He said, it is? I thought they were supposed to get 40 a week. Well, no, that was actually 40 a month. However, don't change it. See how important how they see it is? It's amazing what she was able to do when that's what she could see to do. We are our own limiters, you guys. We are our own limiters. Immeasurably more is just a step away. Just by changing the way we see it. Changed her from 40 a month to 40 a week. Just the way she saw it. Is that incredible? And by the way, then Gloria said, and you need to know this, she needs to be your screening trainer. Make sure she duplicates herself like right now. Now, if that's the way you saw it as a screener getting 160 new patients a month, would you somehow find a way to hire one? Well, we've been looking for the past 4 months. We don't see anybody. We can't. Yeah. I know you don't see anybody. That's the problem. You need to change the way you see it. Still wasn't very loud. You need to change the way you. That's right. The results are totally dependent on the vision, you guys, on the goal, on the expectation. What you see is what you get. And by the way, if Dr. Dean, this is a very important point, if Dr. Dean had set the goal at 40 a month, that is what this same person would have gotten. Not a different one. That's what this person who got 130, they would have gotten 40. We created the picture of what they see. Change what you see, and you change what you get. By the way, I'm going to throw this in too. I called him Monday about this to make sure it was all right with him to pass this story along to you guys. And he said, sure. He said, by the way, I'm in London right now visiting with some friends. And then we're going to Portugal from here for a couple weeks. I said, that's awesome, man. That is great. Which, by the way, sounds like he's doing pretty good. What do you all think? I said, that is great. But here's what I found out. Do you know why he told me that? He explained it after he said, I said, oh, that's great. He said, well, the reason I'm telling you is I can't be in Dallas this Saturday or I would be there. And I wanted you to know why I wasn't there, because I wouldn't just miss. Now, you want to know why he's number one? You know why he does so good? He calls me on the phone every once in a while and he'll say, what would you do? This was pretty recently. He says, what do you think I should do about this? And I said, well, I'll tell you what I would do. I would do blah, blah, blah. He said, okay, that's all I needed to know. He hangs up the phone and he goes out and he does it. Well, it totally throws me off every time. I just go ahead and faint on the floor right there and say, what just happened? I'm always ready for the argument. Why it won't work. No, this won't. We've already done this. We've already done... No. What should I do? Okay, thanks. Kaboom. By the way, I don't see any of you writing this down. That would be a good idea to write down. That'd be a good way to do it. Good way to live. It certainly pays off for him. He's in Portugal right now. Okay, I just got maybe one or two other subjects to do the same thing, and then we'll take a break. Take a break. You ready? How do you see wellness? Really concerned about this. How do you see wellness? How do you see wellness? Do you see patients as only doing what is covered by insurance? Do you think that's a line I've heard before? They'll only do what's covered by insurance. They won't pay for it on their own. And guess what happens, you guys? They're right. Because what you see is what? It's what you get. So, you can be sure you'll be right because what you see is what you get. So what should you do? You should change what you see. Now let me go ahead. I gave you the picture of new patients, seeing the buses coming up, seeing all the teams, seeing all the schools, seeing all the little leaguers. Let me tell you what, and by the way, is that your vision? Let me tell you what this should be. Start seeing 80% of all your new patients becoming wellness patients. Period. If you have 80 new patients a month, 80% of those are going to be wellness patients at the end of their care. That's the way you see it. Start seeing, you guys, the tremendous lifelong mobility your patients will enjoy because you had the vision and the courage to move them to wellness. Start seeing how valuable wellness is to them. Start doing it for them. Make sure that you see how great wellness is. You should be incredibly excited about wellness. And in fact, the reason you get excited about the new patients is because it gives you that many more to move to wellness. Because you see in your mind, you see thousands of wellness patients coming into your clinic every month. Thousands. You see it. And you know why that's so exciting? Because that's going to change the health of our world. And when everybody is being treated like this, and when chiropractic is first instead of last, and when chiropractic is the preventative measure rather than the measure to just try to get them out of pain, what a difference it's going to make. So here's what we see. We see this flood of wellness patients coming into our clinic. And my word, that means that if you just catch it, we can put 2,000 wellness visits in each room a month. One room can handle 2,000 wellness visits a month in one little room. You obviously don't see it, or you'd be incredibly excited right now. Now, let me just help you. That means that you've got this one little room with one person in it, and they see 2,000 patient visits a month, and it's $50 a visit. And they see the 2,000. That's $100,000 a month in collections before you even have one new patient. And you think you need 7 other niches. What is wrong with you? You can change the health of your world with wellness visits, and you refuse to look at it. What if you had 3 rooms that would do that? What if you had 5? Is there any way that you could fill that room that would be any better than that? Am I against other stuff? No. Has nothing to do with what I'm against. It's what I'm for. I'm for changing the health of our world with wellness visits and people putting chiropractic first. And I want them to get the adjustment. And I don't want them being confused thinking it's a whole bunch of other things. I want them to understand that the adjustment will do these things every time you get adjusted. And you can do that 2,000 times a month in each room. Whew. Please see it. I'm begging you to see it. I'm begging you to get on fire about it. You don't even think that it's worthy of a report or 2 or 3 while they're getting their corrective care? You don't think they should see this video maybe? You see, I can't help but get excited every time I see a picture of somebody getting their picture taken, signing the wellness wall. I love seeing the wellness walls. I'll tell you what I am seeing, though. I'm seeing that it slows down a bunch. Now, here's the reason it matters to me. You do realize that that wellness thing doesn't mean anything to me, personally. It's to you, and it's to them. They get a far better life, far better health by getting this kind of wellness, natural wellness, man. They're not going to get addicted here. You want them? So, all I can tell you is I could bring up all kinds of things here. You know I can. But why are you looking for so many niches when you have this one? Explain it to me. They're not going to have to get a loan to do this. $50 a month. They're not going to have to get a loan. They're not going to have to put it on some health credit card or nothing. It's easy. It's health. Is there any of you who think maybe we should be a little bit stronger about it? Is there any of you who would admit maybe we need to see it a little differently? I can tell we don't see it right. You know how I can tell? You're still looking for stuff. You do the math. If you have these new patients and 80% of them become wellness, notice I'm giving you a whole loophole of 20%. You can even have the, I feel like a pretty nice guy. What should you do? Change what you see. That will make a difference. And therefore, when you have that as they're coming in anyway this month, before you even get one, it makes it, you start going after new patients with a lot more confidence. And doctors, stop getting limited to, it's just I asked our wake-up meeting this morning. We have a tendency to feel like if we hit 600 or 800 wellness visits a month that we're done. I don't get it. That's a limited vision. That's what we have. We have a limited vision. So can you see 80% of your new patients signing the wall? Can you? If you can see it, then you're probably concerned at this point where you're going to get all the walls. That's the kind of problem I want to have. Gladly paying cash for wellness care. They gladly will pay for it. It's worth it. It's worth it for it's a whole lot more valuable than the stuff that you're going to charge them for doing that won't get to where they need to go. Therefore, you made it a priority to tell them in your wellness reports, in your corrective care, and you just do it. Change the way you see it. Can you do it? Here's another little thing I'll throw out there. 13% of this country gets adjusted. Now, here's the way I've heard that statistic used. That means, as far as the way they present it to you, see, I like the 80%. How many of you ever heard me talk about the 80% before? I think it's worth reviving. Do you see that 13%? I'm asking you because this is what's presented. 13% is the max number of people in America that needs to be getting adjusted. The chiropractic has reached their peak. 13% is it, and we can't get past that, so we need to get other niches that will give us something to give the other 87%. You know what a crock that is? Rather than 80% getting a wellness visit. You say, well, can we get 80% of wellness? 80% have a primary care physician. Did you know that? 80% of the people in this country have a primary care physician. What would I rather them have first? Chiropractic physician, that's right. We are nowhere as close to our potential, you guys. We have a very limited vision. We do not see it right. Everybody say, we do not see it right. We do not see it right. We see it as maxed out, so we need to do other things. Can you see what the health of this country would be like if 80% of the population was getting chiropractic first? Can you see that? If you can see it, you'll want to go for it. It's when you can't see it that you want to go for other stuff. Can you see it? Does it matter? Can you see how many lives would be saved by the tremendous reduction of drugs and addiction if we only just got into our purpose? Can you see that? If you can see it, you'll go for it. So if you can't see it, here's the challenge of the day. And don't come out on the board and then turn around and go back. Please change what you see.